Welcome to the next edition of competitive new list or sweet list. I got 5 O's. So we're going to I have a total of 5 decks to talk about. One of which I think is kind of stock. Actually, a few of them I think are kind of stock. One of them is kind of really interesting. It's like a mixture of 2 different decks shoved into one, and this could be a good deck. I don't know. So if you like this content, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. We're 1 sub away from 1,000. Let's get there together. And if you're the 1,000 sub, comment down below so that way I can give you a nice love, because I truly appreciate it. Because past this point, I start getting ad revenue, and it really goes a long way. I could put money back into this channel more and make the content better. So let's get into the 5 deck list and discuss. So the first on my list is a Golgari list that is kind of utilizing Collected Company and Tyvar mixture with the Priest, Llanowar Elves. So it's kind of like the old days, like we used to have the Bowl Citadel combo. This one, we're playing Mosswood Dread Knight, which I think is a really good include, and Vron, which is pretty decent, and Cutthroat, which are good ways of draining the opponent. I do wonder if this deck should also be playing some of the new Skeleton, which I might want to try this deck through a league, maybe. What you guys think about this list, let me know down in the comment section, because this is one of the decks I'm really considering. I'm thinking it has to be better than the Roots deck. That deck really underperformed. We don't talk about that deck now. So this deck I think could be something. Lovestruck Beast is actually a clock, which is what the other deck was missing. Woe Strider is pretty sweet as a sack outlet with Reaper to draw. We have Lord Skitter to also facilitate rats, so that way we can sack them to Priest or the Woe Strider to Scry. We have a West Vale Abbey for a closing finisher too, or maybe that actually could be just the card that we play in the other deck as well, because the deck mainly struggled for a finisher, and a 9/7 on the backside is pretty good finisher. Sideboard, we do have 3 Pick Your Poisons for the Vampire matchup. Pretty good against Fable and stuff like that. 1 Bitter Triumph because it hits Planeswalkers and creatures, so it's a lot more, hit more things. 3 Thoughtseize for control and combo. 1 Kinker Bloom because it's just a 2-drop that you get back with Tyvar, and you can just sack it at any point to proliferate, to put another counter on Tyvar and something else, or destroy an artifact and enchantment. 3 Leyline of the Voids for Graveyard Heat. Another Knight of Dust Shadow for the Amalia matchup. 2 Fatal Push for aggro decks, and a Scavenging Ooze for Graveyard Heat on top of the Leyline of the Void. That is the Golgari mid-range pre-sack deck. Let's get into the next list. So next on my list is a deck that I was talking about at the beginning of this video. This is the deck where we merged 2 different strategies and shoved them into one deck. Now, is this deck better because of it? Possibly. Not only does this deck have the Sorin / I Cheat in a Vein Ripper combo, this deck also picks up the greasefang, hey, I get a Parhelion on turn 3 combo. So like it just really pushes forward in a very aggressive manner. So the fact that we can also have Fable, so it gives us a little bit of early or mid-range plan. The only thing I got to say about this deck is the lack of ability to fill the yard up before turn 3, because Fable takes turn 4. Thoughtseize is mainly for our opponent, and we have Blood Tithe Harvester, I suppose. But if you're paying mana to sack the blood token, you're not really facilitating the plan on filling up your yard for Parhelion or Sky Sovereign. So I do kind of wonder if this deck should instead cut the Sky Sovereigns and go up like some actual self-mill or looting type effects. But overall, this deck is pretty interesting. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about this list. Sideboard, we do have 2 Fatal Pushes for aggro, so we cut back on the Thoughtseizes. 2 Unlicensed Herds for Graveyard Heat. 3 Bank Busters as a way to facilitate card draw against mid-range and control. 1 Duress for control and combo. 2 Goblins for control and combo and Graveyard Heat. 2 Extinctions event because aggro's a thing, And mono green's back on the menu. So it's kind of nice to have Extinction Event for those particular matchups. We have a Shieldred for a mid-range piece. If we don't want to necessarily go all in on the greasefang plan, we can cut it. Cut like Parhelion and bring in the Sky Sovereign as Shieldred. Because Sky Sovereign, you could just actually cast it. There's no requirements that you actually need to get back from the graveyard. I guess then again, you could cast Parhelion on 8, but I wouldn't recommend it. And since we are a Golgari, Rakdos colors, K Command is a pretty diverse card. Pretty strong. So that is the list that Mardu greasefang, featuring Vein Ripper combo for Pioneer. Let's get into the next list. Next is Boros Wizard Aggro. Now, this is Boros Burn with Wizard, so I kind of want to think this might be the better variant of aggro for Boros. So I might want to try this deck next season if I get another card. I'm not really a fan of the 4 of Courages. I think any deck should ever want is 3 of them. I wouldn't say they're amazing, but at the same time, I get it. Like, they're fine. But we have 2 clever Lumimancers, 4 Show-Offs, 4 Mages, 4 Swifties, and 4 Kamunos. I do wonder if this deck is a little light on creatures. But Rage, Play with Fire, best 1-drops, period, in the format for red. We have Lightning Bolt in the deck. Then we have 4 Boros Charm because it's the best Boros burn spell in the format. And of course we have a Hazard because we want to trim back on some lands for a pseudo land, which is better. Then we have this one of weirdly Reckless Impulse at the top. Not really sure what it's for. It's just got this extra card draw, but we have Sakasan. So if we need to bring in the Showdown, we have a little bit extra mana. In the case of the Crimson Pulse, in that case scenario, we'll probably be trimming back on some of our less efficient burn spells, like either a Play with Fire or potentially even a Courage. And we have 2 Frenzies to get the Shieldred. We have a Tears of Valakut for the Vampire, Vein Ripper. Frostodon for Amalia, Rest in Peace for Phoenix and Fang, which ironically, I guess it matters again, because we just talked about Fang. Destroy Evil hits on medium-sized creatures, plus it can hit on enchantments. Volley could hit on white and blue creatures, and a melee could hit on any other color. And since red decks are pretty common, it's kind of nice to be able to hit a red creature. And of course, we are a Jex deck. So that is Boros Burn for Pioneer Wizard Burn. Let's get into the next. Next on my list is Prophet. So the deck, actually, I think this is the best variant yet. It only plays 2 Evangels of Synthesis. Honestly, I think this card should just go. It's just not very good. I'd rather play the Scholar, the Shredder, and the Duelist. So I think this is the best build because they do maximize on all 4 of them. And we have 4 Considers with our 4 Treasure Cruises, which are really strong with Prophet. Then we have Thoughtseize and Fatal Push because they're just the best interaction pieces. Bitter Triumph I think is just a reasonable card since it can hit Planeswalkers. And then we have Opt for additional copies of Consider. Sideboard, we do have Leyline of the Void for Graveyard Hate, Blot Out for Vein Ripper, Meat Hook Massacre for Aggro, 2 Damping Spheres for the Lotus Field matchup and Contorious, Duress for Contorious and Lotus Field and Control. Then we have Shieldred as a diversified threat we could bring in certain matchups, even something like against Phoenix and Lotus Field. They do draw a lot of cards, so it is a nice way to win the game. Coat for grinding matchups and Kaito for grinding matchups. That is Dimir Prophet for Pioneer. Let's get into the next list. Next on my list is the deck that has been going around. You see it in leagues every so often, but people have thought it's a meme. But it did get a 5-0, so here we are, which is the Tree of Partition deck. So the plan here is you try to get Tree of Partition underneath a Soul Cauldron and a Thrill Seeker under a Soul Cauldron. And it doesn't matter what creature has the counter, you tap it, and you make their life become the toughness, and then you just pay the 1 and shoot the guy to finish him off. So that's kind of the plan. This deck does have a little bit of a backup plan with a single copy of Miner, for some reason. We have 4 Stitcher Suppliers because it fills our yard up. 3 Epicures, just because it's a reasonable card that can get a blood token. And we have 1 of Croxa down here, 2 of Croxas, which are just a great finisher. Blood Tithe Harvester is just a really amazing card. It's a 2 for 1, plus it's really amazing with Fable. NT for aggro. It makes our aggro actual attacks profitable most of the time. Fatal Push for aggro to kill their threats. Of course, like I said, we have Thrill Seeker because it is just the best combo piece for the deck with Tree. Sideboard, we do have 4 Thoughtseizes as a way to fight through control and combo. We have 2 Feed the Swarms because it hits on enchantments, which is something that black and red can't normally do. Torpor Orb for stopping ETB effects. 2 Blot Outs for the Vein Rippers. 2 Call Against Command because it hits on artifacts and it could kill most things and make your opponent discard. Obnixilis for the grinding matchups. And then, of course, we're allowed to have a Jengatha, which is almost the case later in the game. As long as we have this stuff underneath our Soul Cauldron, we could just put a Jags down as a 6/6 and tap it and then sack it. So that is all the list I have for you guys today to cover. Like I said, let me know down in the comment section which one of these decks you think is your favorite. What decks would you like to see me feature on this channel? And until next time, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon.